Hi, I'm Caleb, and today is the 4th week's anniversary of my brother passing. And I did a 2-week recap, or just an update, and this is aimed to be the 4th week update. And I'm not sure how a 6-week update is looking. I wanted to get this video out there to be able to help not just myself contrast, but other people be able to relate if they're experiencing something similar, or are knowing any friends that are going through something like this themselves, the death of a loved one, the passing of a sibling, maybe like the ending of something grandiose. Maybe it's the end of a loving relationship to some extent. Some of the emotions do overlap, and so I wanted this video just to be here for my personal library in the future. A month after my younger brother passing, it's been an intense month. It really has been. And so I want to have something to be able to document some thoughts that come up as I start to share. I looked at the 2-week video just a few days ago to see how the pace was, see how the framing was. Yes, I got a new backdrop. So we were at that one last week. It's on the same wall though. This is the 4 weeks I counted. And I could tell right away that the person that I was then is extremely behind where I am today. Just in emotion, or sorry, not behind. They're in an entirely different place. That person, Caleb Brandley's of 2 weeks before today. I was watching the video, and I'm sure I said some great things, and I only watched a few seconds, but I was able to tell right away the things I was saying. I remember when I was saying them. I was just giving an example, and what I was looking at, it's actually in my point of view right now, the way I was feeling as I was saying it, and what I felt like it meant, and the meaning behind it. And it was just relieving for me to see my 2-week video just a few days ago, because I can tell just by knowing where I was then and being able to see it, that I am much, much further ahead than that person. I can tell that I'm not as emotional. I'm extremely aware that I am able to be more effective throughout my days, and I can think better and clearer. And so just some of the quick changes, like, I have more answers to myself, and I've figured out feelings. And so I've definitely matured much faster than I thought I was, and I've realized this because I was able to look at the 2-week-old video and be like, wow, that's really where I was at 2 weeks ago? Wow, man, I'm light years ahead now. And I can tell that I've just matured in my emotions around certain things and certain thoughts and feelings. I either don't feel as strongly, I've added new layers, I've created an emotional callus around the pretty grueling details and such. And I'm proud of myself for that. So that's cool. So if you are, just a tad bit of a note, or a tidbit of a note, if you are gonna have an experience like this and that realization would be important to you, guess what? You should absolutely film yourself. Don't put it up on YouTube. Don't do what I'm doing if that's not what you want, but you should at least film yourself for yourself, because to know where you are, it's a little bit compounded when you can see where you've been. And so if you can look at yourself in the face, the digital face, that's just it's a big win. So about a week ago, we had Dexter's ceremony. Dexter was my brother, and man, yeah, even as I say it, like, still some of the words seem unreal. It's as if I don't believe them. That phrase keeps getting thrown around, like, oh, I don't believe this, or I can't even believe, and I get it, I do, because you are habitually stuck into knowing that your brother will just be there forever, or your sister will, like, if she's older, she's gone before you. If she's younger, she's gone after you. And you just think that there's this chronological order to things, and for it to get abruptly disassembled, and then you're still left with the same life just without that big piece. it is interesting. And so that's some of the part that feels like it's not there. Even as I just brought up that we just had his services on Saturday. On that day itself, by the way, there's a video and you should check it out because it was beautiful. On that day itself, it was more real than ever before. And man, the friends and family that came out of the woodwork. Little in, Dad? Okay, that's good. Like, that was just so cool. There's some of my friends that I hadn't seen since elementary school that came, you know, under terrible circumstances, but just that they came at all was just so relieving. And I even started out my speech with saying that you guys have been the oxygen for what we've been going through. Could we do it without you? Yeah, I guess so, but dude, let me tell you, there's nothing that takes your mind off it more than having someone share a story about it. It's the craziest thing. You're like, oh, I can't stop thinking about my brother. And then someone shares a story about your brother with them, and you just forget all about the bad parts and you're focused on this great part. So you're listening to a story, you're getting uplifted, you're getting reached out to, and you're feeling the love. You have people just really, really sharing great things with you and taking time out of their days to remind you that, hey, you're in my awareness. We loved you growing up, we love you now, and I'm sorry for you. And yeah, I get people don't know what to say. People won't know what to say. You know what? Even me, in the future, a friend of mine has a sibling die. I mean, like, even I won't completely know what to say. We'll never know what to say. But this is what's important, that you care enough to want to say something. So just share that. Be like, share a story. Those are the best. Share a story, whether it's funny or not, something cute, something quirky. Like, you know, if you knew my brother and you were telling me about how you shoplifted at 7-Eleven, that would be awesome. You know, like, I just, all the stories matter. So, so share a story, share a feeling, and share your blessings, and just say, you guys are my thoughts. And the bombardment that happens, it's good on bombardment, but it's a lot. There's even now some messages I haven't responded to. My 4th grade teacher, my brother's 3rd grade teacher, reached out to me, Miss Leadham, Miss McDermott, when I had her. I'm not sure if I read the full message. I haven't responded, and that was like a few days ago. And especially if you have a busy life, like, death will take its toll on all of us. And you know, it's been a month, and I'm just feeling like I'm getting back into things, but I'm behind, and so I'm still catching up. Typical holiday season. What else? So we had his services, and the emotion and the feelings around that day were very, very intense. And it was unique because we were all seemingly in the same pit of things. And, you know, I watched the video later that night just to hear my speech again. And you can't hear, sorry, I guess I'd rather say that you can't really feel what was felt there. But you can hear the words and you can see, and I mean, I'm surprised that as much as I thought I was crying during my speech, like, I sounded fine. I'm a good cry speaker. But things to keep in touch. Tracking back to, I'm expecting the majority of people to be watching this, to be experiencing this, or be preparing for whenever the experience comes. Now, one thing that will just absolutely tear you apart if you're not mentally fit enough for it, or not prepared enough to go through the way that you want, is regret. So I try and keep an eye out for things I will be, could be regretful for. And I'm not currently. And I think I shared beforehand where it's like, oh, I regret I didn't tell him something, because, you know, my brother passed from a combination of alcohol and oxycodone. We don't know how much. I mean, his friends said he never did drugs, so maybe it was his first time. But drinking, like, he was a heavy drinker, and so just can't mix pills and drink. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Absolutely not. You know, like, for me to play I regret I didn't tell him. Look, people will make their own decisions, but make sure that you can live with yours. So if you have a service and you make an emotional decision to not speak, make sure that that's one you'll still like a year from then. Okay, you know, if my family's divorced, so my mom and then my dad, his wife, they were all kind of helping coordinate the services. My dad did 98% of the work, 99% of the work. You know, and my sister and myself helped too, but like they were up there, and there were things that kind of got not completely discussed, and I get both parts. Here's the exact part. My mom didn't speak at my brother's funeral or service. And you know what? I think it'll really upset her for a while. But like my dad was trying to be respectful. They were talking about it, so he thought she would bring it up. She thought he would bring it up, and no one brought it up. And then the day happened, and she didn't do it. And so I see both sides, but this is what you have to do ultimately. Make your decisions. If you want to speak, speak. Talk to the decision maker. Make sure it's happening. I mean, especially if you're in the family. Why the hell would you not? Why would you not be able to? Why would you not do it? What else? If you're in front of someone that you haven't seen in a long time, say what's on your mind. Tell them the truth. Share what you're feeling. Reminisce on something of the past. In as seemingly simple of a concept as just sharing what's on your mind, the regret of not sharing that could actually happen. Like, I saw a few coaches, and I wanted to apologize for something I did a long time ago. Now, it's just second nature for me to go in and push forth whatever's on my mind right away, because I really don't want to be like, why the fuck didn't I say that? And so that type of movement and action helps make you feel comfortable enough to always speak and think your mind, but also to not backtrack and wish you had done more. You know, like when I say stuff that's on my mind, like we're meeting and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, like I would do this. And I would just tell him, it doesn't really change the now except for me. So do things for you selfishly to make sure that you don't regret not doing it or doing it differently, you know? And so I only said that because that's like, just this year sometime, I like really started like deciding my own fate and not complaining around the outcomes of it to a whole new degree. There's still a little bit of complaining, there's still a little bit of indecisiveness, but the difference in last year versus this year is the big difference. That's the stuff that matters. How much better am I? You know, how quicker can I learn? How many more people have I met because of this? It's just like pecking away. Like you got this big block of marble and you're just chipping away at your philosophies, work on this for a little bit, chip away on your work ethic, work on this for a little bit, chip away on your, you know, like compassion, like your love, then you make a whole sculpture at the end we call your life. What are we talking about? It's December 22nd on a Friday in San Diego. It's pretty out here. The clouds are changing color. Yeah, look for the December 22nd vlog on my channel and you'll be able to maybe see a time lapse if I'm done beforehand. But to cut back to the chase, it's like, I feel better. Today, last night, my sister and my mother broke down. My sister called me. She woke up crying in her sleep randomly last night. Like we talked on the phone before she went to bed, she was fine. And then she calls me later just crying. And my mom too, she said she'll just be doing nothing and just it'll hit her out of nowhere. And she'll be on the floor crying. I can only imagine that. That's not happening to me. One of the things that my mom kept telling me though, and you know, it kind of makes a little bit of an easier understanding, is my mom would, the whole time she was here, she just left a few days ago to Indiana. The whole time she was here, she was so worried about Caleb because I wasn't crying a lot or I wasn't like really sharing what's on my mind. But look, this is a lesson for you, okay? Because I understand what's coming, but people will impress their point of views upon you and judge you based off of you operating with their point of views. So my mom's saying, Caleb, you're just bottling things up and you're going to explode one day and it's going to be bad and you're not going to be able to live with yourself and like blah, blah, blah. Her breaking down yesterday. And then, I mean, I've watched my parents get divorced. My mom's an active drinker. And so like I see her all over the place say stuff that she does. And she only says it because she does it and thinks that maybe someone else will think like her. I'm not bottling. I'm fine. It sucks, but like, we're good. It's important to remember that when people are telling you one thing, especially if it's a close family member, as long as it's not hurting anyone, You can just nod and agree. You're like, yeah, okay, you're right. I'll keep an eye out for it. And just like they want to worry for you, they want you to worry, they want you to know that they're worrying, you know, a little bit of an ego thing. Know that I worry about you because I love you. But it's like, yeah, one of those things I won't understand until I have a kid, because it's like, if I understood and I listened to you, I would worry less, and then we would both be on the same page. Anyways, I digress. It's important to remember, though, that if people are saying, you gotta let it out, you gotta do this, just agree with them. And it's not a debate. They're trying to help. They really are. They are. And one of my favorite thoughts that Deepak Chopra has shared is how others treat you is their karma. How you respond is yours. And so, like, if other people are like worried about me exploding or like bottling things in, like, I am just under the impression that there's someone that can bottle things in and explode. Like, there's nothing more to it. I haven't told them that I do that. I don't know why they would think I do. And so it must be them. So how others treat you is their karma. How you respond is yours. So if someone tells me that, I just, thanks so much. Like, I'll really keep an eye out for it. I want that, you know, like I tell people that I want to explode. Like, let me really feel it. I mean, if it's there, I will. And if it's not, I'll continue on. I mean, I have cried. Believe me, it's there. But I do feel, I like to say the maturity. I do feel the maturity inside of those thoughts, though. The ones that can make you feel really sad and get to a crying state. And like, I just like to shut it up right away, because I understand what's on the other end of it. You're essentially wishing for something that doesn't exist. And it's a pretty painful scenario to go through sadness and wish that the scenario you're in didn't exist. And so I immediately default to, well, we're here, what next, and what do I learn? And it's just been like, the quickness out of that near tear experience is, it's much different than on week 2, than on week 1, than on week 3. Yeah, if I wasn't so busy with OC Deli and all this stuff, I would have done like maybe daily stuff. But like, there's just a lot that's happening on a daily basis. But make sure that you watch more videos with your family. So like tomorrow night, my sister and I are going to my dad's. We're gonna hang out, watch a movie. On Christmas, we're doing the same thing. We are not gonna be spending it with our family this year, like we normally would up North Cal, strictly because of the events. Yeah, so like the big takeaways are, you get better. You absolutely do get better. If you don't believe it, film yourself now and wait for a week, wait for 2 weeks. And if you are doing good, make sure that you're sharing with your family. Make sure you tell your thoughts to your sister or your brother or your mother or your father. Let them know what you're thinking. And what I'm talking about is, if a thought comes up that makes you laugh, they want to hear it. If something comes up that helps relieve you of pain from something else, share it. Because they're going through similar emotions. They are, no one's prepared for it. Like, absolutely no one is prepared for it. And so to just remember that you're not in it alone. Your family's experiencing it. If you're the kid, most parents' worst nightmare is losing a kid. And so, just like do an additional set of touches, of hugs, of kisses, of texts, emojis, whatever they love, calls, spend time with them. What I'm anticipating is you'll be able to feel yourself start to really get back in the groove of things. And I'm not completely there yet. And so I'll tell you what it's like watching my family and listening to my family grow out of it. But I can tell you the thing that is most helping is the time with them, the messages back and forth, and the calls. Yeah, but after I talk with my dad tomorrow, hang out with Simone tomorrow, I'll have a little bit more context on it. Just wanted to say that, like, if you're a friend and you've ever reached out to a friend before that has lost someone, you meant more to them in that moment than you could possibly imagine. If you are personally experiencing a loss, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to hear. you'll be okay. You really will be. It's up to you. It's up to you if you'll be okay. But you should be. They would want you to be, hopefully, otherwise you shouldn't grieve about them for too long. And, like if someone wanted you to be in pain, that would be a shitty person to be sad over. Yeah, and if you have a loved one, just, like if you've been additionally touchy with them, just like remind them that like, hey, I know it's still hard for you to fathom what's going on, but I can tell that I'm acting a little bit differently here, and I don't mean it for anything for you. It's just all the things going on in my head. And I get your head can be fooled. That's great. Just don't let it go to a bad place. Hard for me to relate with all of that because I really don't. And so if you have any comments or questions, feel free in the stream. I should be able to be on top of it for a while. But regardless, just know that your life is worth living. Just, you never need to crossfade. You don't. Don't crossfade, don't black out, don't excess, and know that on the other end of bad mistakes, there's a tremendous amount of hard work, tears, and sadness that happens. So don't wish this upon your family. I remember growing up as a young teen, like I did think of suicide. Never do I think I would have came close, but like I did weird stuff to like pose as if I was getting close. Just so weird. But you just do not know. You just don't understand how great your life will be if you continue on, if you continue to grow, you continue to learn, pass on your love, share experiences, and build knowledge, and then go and implement it in the thing that makes you happy. Like, you can do great. My brother he was wild, and he was careless, and he made a mistake. He wanted to live, and this is a prime example of why no one is invincible, and everyone's life is worth living. We had a great turnout for his services. Even more people said they wanted to come but couldn't, and it's just the amount of people touched by this one person, my brother, is an example of how connected we can really become in these next few generations, because never before have we been able to touch as many people as we can nowadays. And so know that more people care about you now than there used to be that cared about anyone ever before. And so don't take it lightly. Share this message with anyone that you think might be able to listen to someone that's 4 weeks into a sibling getting lost, and to let them know that there's hope on the other side. If you let it take a little bit longer to catch up to you and bask in the reality, not like you're basking or sunbathing or something, but like to really be engulfed in it and to say it differently. Like my brother passed away. I say it differently than I did on week 2, and it's just because I internalized it differently, or internalized it more, just to hear it over and over and over again. This is how we start to believe things. And so I love you, and I'm glad that you are on whatever journey you are on. Do you well, and keep it on. Keep it up. Keep going. Whatever it is. My name's Caleb Brandeles. Bye-bye for now.